final video of April and our final video of the Mass Effect trilogy, at least for now. Like with the other categories we're talking about, we will probably get back to Mass Effect at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know when though.
So we're gonna close out the series with another non-playable character, as I mentioned in our previous video. And
this time it's going to be a main one, or at least one with more presence in the plot. So for this specific video, though, it is going to be Joker. Okay. So, as per usual, Fairy will give the history lesson.
Alright. So, Joker, or Alliance
and we gotta
Flight.
keep our voices down because Arya is asleep.
You're right. I'm sorry, baby.
I am babysitting again. I do that quite a bit now.
So Joker, or Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau, if you wanna use his official title, was, well, first, for starters, it should be known, Joker has Rollick syndrome, or as it's also called, brittle bone disease. So
with him, if he moves too much or gets touched incorrectly or anything, his bones will shatter.
So he spent a good part of his life using braces on his legs and crutches to help him
Which
get
he
around.
still uses if he needs to walk around, although he spends most of his time sitting in the cockpit, so that's not really an issue.
Now, Joker's mother was a contractor, and because of her job, he spent a good majority of his life growing up on the Arcturus station, and it's there where he would watch all the ships go by, and he decided that he wanted to be a pilot. So he went to flight school, and a lot of the teachers got on him for never really smiling because he worked so hard, and he said he didn't have time to fool around and stuff like that, and that's actually how he got the nickname Joker.
So it's an ironic one, not a serious one.
But by the end of it all, he was
the best.
The best. He was even better than his teachers, and he, to that response, he says, guess who was smiling at graduation? They all got their asses kicked by the sickly little kid with the creaky legs.
Mm-hmm. So
when he turned 18, he enlisted and he joined the Alliance. And on the Arcturus station, the Normandy they were doing a test pilot of it, and Joker had previously signed up to be its pilot, but he was turned down the first time because of his disease. But basically one day after there was this Turian who he gave a ride to. He saw the Normandy and he claimed he was in love with it. So what does he do? He breaks.
Wait, what does that have to do with giving a Turian a ride?
It will come back later.
Okay, sorry for interrupting.
It's okay. So he breaks into the Normandy.
Which is impressive, actually, because you have to do that in the Citadel DLC in the third game, and it's not easy.
He throws the current pilot out of the cockpit, locks himself in there, and...
How could he do that if he's not very good at moving?
Buttons.
Power of buttons. I'm always forgetting that. Please continue.
And anyway, so he a couple Alliance officials try and talk him out of it and warn him about how he's going to be arrested if he keeps up with this, but he keeps his calm the whole time.
He's Joker, he just does it.
He completes the test course with flying colors. So after that, he's about to be arrested, but Captain David Anderson, along with some other officials, and the Turian, who he actually gave a ride to later, also vouches for him. And there are going to be consequences to what he does, but he's not arrested, and he's maybe Normandy's official pilot. And he's just in shock that his plan actually worked after that.
It is shocking.
Yep. So then, he's the Normandy's official pilot, and we see him in the first video game.
Yep, so in the beginning, your relationship with him as Shepard isn't very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know about the Rolex syndrome thing, so when you talk to him trying to get to know him a bit better, he lashes out saying, "You don't think I can do it?" And you're like, "I didn't even know you were sick." And then he's like, "Oh, crap.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even know." So then he has to explain. And as the game goes on, you do get closer, and he performs this awesome move where he has to eject the Mako to get you into this landing zone, which is much shorter than what you're really supposed to do. But he's
no
like,
one...
"I can do it," and you're like, "Okay, I trust him," and he does it.
Mm-hmm. And a little tiny note about that, Joker wears a hat. This is one of the few times you see him without his hat, because he actually loses his hat when he's trying to make the drop.
So, just through the game, you don't interact with him all that much, but it gets more and more pleasant as time goes by. And then by the events of 2, you are very good friends. And in the beginning of the game, we mentioned in the Garrus video, our first one, how you die in the beginning of it. You die because Joker, being the stubborn ass he is, refuses to abandon ship, so you go to get him, you get him into the escape pod, but you don't make it. So he spends the next huge chunk of time feeling all guilty because he was too stubborn to abandon a doomed ship that his friend died saving him.
Mm-hmm. So for the next 2 years, he mopes around because your crew does get relocated and Joker gets grounded.
Yeah, and
so
they
he can't
cover up pretty much everything you've ever done, which pisses him off. Because you've done a lot and you were good to him and you're now being treated like crap.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's his view on things. So when he gets the offer by Cerberus, which is basically a terrorist cell, to work for them so that he can fly the Normandy again because they made a new one, and to work with you again because they are reviving you, he jumps at it, so he's there for pretty much the beginning with you.
And I think they might have done something to his legs too, I'm not sure, but he doesn't have crutches anymore. He is walking without them.
Oh, but it's more of a limp than a walk.
Yeah.
But, so he's one of the few crew members who come back. The other is Dr. Chockless. And so you can talk to him a lot. He has a interesting relationship with the Normandy's new VI. He starts out hating her.
Yeah, Joker doesn't like...
They become closer as the game goes by.
Yeah, Joker and Edie's interactions are some of the funniest parts about talking to him in Mass Effect 2 when you do interact with him.
He wants to mute her. She intentionally riles him up.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. It's fun. And also, you can get him to give his opinion on your crew members. So he'll talk about the 2 you most recently went out with, and he usually has some funny things to say about them.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually get to, you as the player, you get to play as him for a bit in number 2, because there's this part where Shepard's gone, all the squad mates are gone.
So it's just Joker and the crew on the ship, and collectors, because of a Reaper IFF you installed in the ship, there was a virus in it, collectors were able to track your ship. And they break in and start taking the crew. So Edie convinces Joker, you have to unshackle me and I can take control of the ship and we can save the ship.
Because, like, she's the VI of the ship, or not?
The AI.
The AI, sorry. VI is a sentient. AIs are. So, being that she's shackled, she doesn't have her full functions. So you play as him, sneaking him around until he can free her, but by the time he does that, he's the only crew member left everyone else got taken.
That's unavoidable either way. You can't save your crew.
You can't.
Joker and Edie are going to be the only ones left.
Mm-hmm.
So Joker feels very, very bad about that after, but Shepard and Edie's concerns are more on him.
Mm-hmm.
Miranda's not so nice about it, but
like everybody else is like, he didn't exactly have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically it. Although at the very end of the game, there is a cutscene where you're getting saved by your squad mates because you need to be pulled up.
And
he comes out with a gun and he starts shooting at the collectors behind you. It's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
I don't know if we actually hit anything because you don't really see, but it's still a nice gesture.
Mhm. And if Shepard doesn't survive the suicide mission, given a couple of Shepard's lost more than 2 squad mates, I think it is. Joker's the only one who survives, and you actually see a cutscene of him, like, I don't want to say caressing because that sounds weird, but you see him touch your coffin. So,
he cared a lot about you.
Yeah.
So then there's Mass Effect 3, where again he's the Normandy's pilot. He's present throughout. You see him all around. You can talk to him quite often. So a big part of his character arc in number 3 is his growing relationship with Edie. Now in Mass Effect 2, they went from enemies to frenemies to friends.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, they go from friends, and depending upon some dialogue options from you and the encouragement you give, they can actually become a couple.
Mm-hmm. If you're a female Shepard too, you can also ask him why he never tried pursuing a relationship with you, but you're not getting a relationship with Joker either way.
Mm-hmm. So, and he also tries, like with Garrus, he also tries to lighten the mood for you, and he says it's because, he makes jokes even when you don't find it appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's because Anderson, the guy who is like in charge of all of humanity at this point, specifically told him someone needs to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because Anderson sees you as the most important person because of lots of reasons. So someone needs to take care of Shepard, so he's like, you gotta keep her as, if you can get her to be less stressed, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic argument. So he tries, and sometimes he succeeds, sometimes he doesn't, but he tries, which I think is a big deal.
And it's not like he doesn't know there's a war going on. He points that out. Like, he even mentions, you find out in the 3rd game that he has a father and a younger sister named Hillary who live on a human colony called Tiptree, and the Reapers invaded it.
Yeah, you find out from overhearing conversations that their fate is not exactly a good one.
Yeah, if you go to Hortham Memorial Hospital in the Citadel, there's actually this Asari commando who was on Tiptree, and she's talking about it with a counselor.
I don't remember if she said anything about Joker's dad, but Hillary's dead.
Yeah. She had to kill Hillary.
Yeah. It's a sad thing. But moving on. So Joker, there's his growing relationship with Edie, his embarrassment when Edie asks questions, and...
Because Edie has a lot of questions.
Yeah, that Joker isn't always keen on answering. So she asks you, and that embarrasses him, but, and he very much cares about Shepard, and that's, prominent in his character.
Mm-hmm.
For most of 3. He tries to lighten your mood, and he's actually a lot nicer to the other crew members too. Like, there's this one instance where Garrus is up in the cockpit and they're throwing, old war jokes at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. And, he's interacting with more people more, and it's just interesting and nice. And then there's the Citadel DLC and his role in that.
Yeah. So your accounts get hacked, but so you both end up going to have dinner at this sushi restaurant.
Did you wind up drinking?
Yes. And you end up using Joker as bait.
And he's not happy about it.
No. But he gets over it.
Yeah.
He keeps saying we're gonna talk about this though.
But you never do.
Mm-mm. But after that, you don't really see him again. He's in your apartment with the rest of your crew, but the next time he really plays a role in helping you is when he get he borrows a car from the Citadel and
Borrows, yeah. Well, he's not gonna fight because he can't really move.
yeah, but he's still an excellent pilot.
He drives like right in front of the Normandy, so it can't hit hyperspace because there's a car in front of it. So he's basically playing chicken with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and he and Cortez are having an argument about how to fly.
Yeah, because Cortez
is your shuttle pilot in the third game.
Yeah, so they argue about the car thing. But that's neither here nor there. So then there's the party. Joker has fun. If you do a quiet one for certain sections, they have what Rex describes as a man emergency, where they need to get Joker to shoot at things because he doesn't do that, and that's apparently not appropriate.
And you can encourage the group, or you can tell them that Joker's fine.
Yeah.
Because we've seen him with a gun in the second game.
We have, and if it's more energetic, he's hanging out with Evie and stuff.
And then, the morning after the party, you just find him sitting at the bar with his head down, and it's like, can everyone just not open the cabinets too loud or walk too loud, Just think nice, quiet thoughts.
Everyone's pretty much like that.
Everyone's hungover, so.
Except you.
Yeah.
Good old cybernetics.
Which is...
They help you cheat.
Actually, no, Jack's not hungover either, but that's a different story.
Yeah. And Garrus, he seems to have a headache, but he doesn't seem, too hungover. Neither does Liara.
No.
Or Samara. Samara seems fine.
All Garrus does is he asks if anything needs to be calibrated.
And then he makes fun of himself for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Joker. So that's basically it for him.
Mm-hmm. The next time you see him at the end of the game, after, depending on what you do, the Normandy has to escape along with all the other ships, and you see him in the cockpit. Usually he'll be alone or others will be with him, and he doesn't want to leave. You can see he doesn't want to leave you behind. But
he has to go or they're all dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, they crash land on some foresty planet, and depending upon your military readiness and a few other factors, they can either just leave any time to come back, or they're stuck there for a while. And then there's that memorial wall thing, and he can be all depressed because depending upon some choices you make, he could be dead.
Mm-hmm. But either way, he does still look upset because you're gone.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it for Joker in the games.
Yep. So now on to our section. So, does he work as a character?
I think he does, yes. I mean, his personality it's definitely different from everyone else, but I like it because he's got this...
He's not that much different from everybody else. His main thing is being snarky. You've got a lot of snarky characters in Mass Effect.
Yeah, he's snarky almost to the point where he's arrogant, too.
True, but that's not exactly out there either.
That's true.
He's just a dude with flaws, shortcomings, and strong points.
Because obviously he's a great pilot.
Yeah, and he is a very good friend if you earn his friendship.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he can be a bit of an asshole, but, there are people like that.
Mm-hmm.
In real life and in the game. He's not the biggest asshole.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he definitely works in the game. Well, that brings us into our next category, though. Does he work in his settings?
Okay, so like with David Archer, it does take me out of the story a bit that he's the only character, with like this with a disability, let alone one as severe as his, of the physical kind. So, but because he's so present and his disability takes backseat to his personality and his skills, it doesn't really bother me as much.
Mm-hmm. And he tries, and he plays off of that too. Like he didn't, because in the first game he reminds you, I didn't get all of these because of my disability. This wasn't charity.
Yeah,
I earned all of this.
There is like this big moment for him in the third game where, like, to show his like complete respect for you, he gets out of his pilot's chair, which you rarely ever see him do, just to salute you.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was very nice.
And he's very proud of his beard.
He is very proud of
Like,
that.
he does like this spectacular save of you in the first game, and he's like, I want a medal for that. And stuff like that, and you're like, I could recommend you for it, but then you had to sit through a ceremony and shave your beard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, he doesn't want to
I've
shave.
worked forever on this baby. I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah.
So, and like it actually, even like his snarkiness actually bothers Liara at one point, because he saved them during the mission where you recruit her in the first game, and she's like, we nearly died, and he's making jokes, and you're like, he saved our asses. He's earned the right to make some stupid jokes. But that's neither here nor there. So he's like, he fits into the setting because he's an interesting character, like so many other characters from Mass Effect. He is not one-dimensional, and he's enjoyable to watch.
So, I guess that brings us into our last category. Do we like him?
Yeah, the series would not be the same without him.
It would not. I mean, I actually really enjoy all his sarcastic and snarky comments.
I mean, it's kind of grating in the early game play because he's kind of an asshole about it. But once he softens up and he starts to like Shepard, it becomes less grating and more enjoyable.
And it also doesn't hurt with who he's voiced by.
Seth Green. Gotta love him.
Yes, you do. Because Seth Green is a funny guy. But yeah, there's, other than how he is in the first game, like Dragon said, there's not really a lot to hate about Joker.
No.
He's funny, he's enjoyable to watch. He has
a good character arc, and there's a decent amount of character growth.
And I enjoyed talking to him in the cockpit.
Oh yeah, I go back there as often as I could.
And then when I run out of interactions with him, I get sad. And I love how funny his interactions with Edie get to be. Even in the second game, when she's messing with him, it's like, it's funny.
As are his comments on your squad mates. Like, a few highlights are, well, he expresses his happiness that Rex isn't going to rejoin you when you meet him, because you're at good headbutting capacity. He mentions how Garrus has finally worked the stick out of his butt, but unfortunately he seems to be dead set on beating people to death with it.
And when you bring Grunt on board, he's like, another dangerous animal on board. Gee, thanks, Commander.
He compares it to collecting cats. And he mentions how Zaid is like you, but he takes checks.
So yeah, overall, Joker is a really, really good guy to have around.
He has some good one-liners. He's funny. He's interesting. He has a good character arc,
Mhm.
and he really is one of the better friends you have in the game. Cause like
He's like the little brother you never
yeah,
had.
like, everybody else expects you to do shit for them.
Mhm.
He never does.
Joker expects nothing. All Joker wants is to fly the Normandy.
And for you to not be dead.
Yeah. That's
He very much
important.
wants Joker to not be dead.
Mhm.
So that's it for Joker.
Yep. So, and that closes up Mass Effect for this month at least. But what do you guys think? Who's your favorite character in the Mass Effect universe?
Leave a comment below and tell us, and maybe next time when we do this, we'll talk about him or her.
So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr. It's the same as the channel name, Fire Dragon and Water Fairy.
And if you can, like and subscribe our video, please.
Yep, and we'll see you in May where we'll be talking about something new.
Alright,
Bye.
bye.